This is not your normal YouTube video. This is a bizarre and inspiring story about how vision boards changed my life. Nothing in this video is meant to convince you of anything, or even sell you on anything. But in watching this video, I encourage you to listen with a sense of openness, awareness, and intention. Feel free to pause and reflect on different parts of the video that resonate most with you. Allow the good fortune of this video into your life. Before beginning, you may set an intention for this video if that feels right to you. So let's begin. This story has 3 parts, and the first part is about truth. It starts in fall of 2024. I was living the life. This is the life that most people dream of. I was 31, making more money than I knew what to do with, had a successful career in finance, and then again later in tech. I had traveled to Europe, and yet surprisingly, I was miserable. This is gonna sound embarrassing, but I struggle with self-worth, doubt, insecurities about my competence, my intelligence, and how nice others perceive me. And these insecurities drove me and my career to new heights. It worked spectacularly, but it worked at the expense of my happiness. I was stuck in a perpetual cycle of needing to distract myself with more and more achievements instead of dealing with my insecurities, my worries, my anxieties, how I actually felt, and my own happiness. So through that, I achieved the top of my field. I achieved the things that were supposed to make me happy. There's only one problem. It didn't make me happy. Actually, it made me unhappy. It made me sad to finally achieve the things that I thought I've always wanted and to not be happy and to realize that I've wasted my life, my energy, my time. So deep down, I was deeply unhappy. I was still sad, lonely, and insecure. And again, on top of that, finding out that these accomplishments don't make me happy actually made me sad. I remember thinking, if this doesn't make me happy, what will? Do I even know what makes me happy? Or am I living someone else's version of happiness? So this story is not only about truth, but it's about finding my truth and navigating the lies that we all accept from an early age about what makes us happy. I believed that if I just worked hard, hit the top of my field, did my best, that ultimately everything would just work out and that I wouldn't be scared anymore. My insecurities would just go away. I believed that happiness was something to be achieved, like arriving at a destination, and that the journey of happiness was actually a journey of sacrifice. And I couldn't have been more wrong. So many times I felt lonely, unloved, unlovable, and lived in fear. I clinged to the hope that someday my insecurities and worries and anxieties would all just go away and I'd just be happy. I knew deep down that no achievement, no title could make me happy. But I just didn't know any other way. I knew that no achievement or title or anything external would make me happy. But I just didn't know any other way. My work was my identity. I was those accomplishments and those titles. And outside of that, I didn't actually know what made me happy. I didn't know what made me me. I felt stuck. Either live with the illusion of happiness and more achievements, or walk away from the dream life directly into the fire in the hopes that someday I might figure out how to be happy. What do I do? It was a literal fork in the road. The crushing weight of this decision weighed on my soul. The only way that felt like moving forward was sticking to what I knew, because I was afraid of changing. The only thing that I knew how to do was stick to what I knew and stay on the familiar but ineffective path. The path that would guarantee my unhappiness and major life regrets. My Uncle Peter was my best friend, and on his deathbed shared that his biggest life regret was not caring more about the people in his life and spending more time with them, and that being smart wasn't everything, to quote him. Hearing this made me realize that I was literally on the same path, and that if I didn't make drastic changes now, that I would have the exact same regrets. And it hit me hard. I knew I had to change, but I was terrified of the unknown. I was terrified of what might happen, what I was walking away from, who I might disappoint, who I might make angry. So even though I knew I had to change, I still felt stuck, and it was incredibly stressful because I didn't know which way to go. Eventually, I realized that nothing external would make me happy. Only I can decide to be happy. It's a choice I get to make. And if that meant changing everything in my life, then so be it. And if that meant also walking away from the dream life that 99% of people spend their whole life trying to achieve and don't even get there, then so be it. The truth is, we are all told a lie. From our earliest days, we unknowingly accept this lie. And as we continue to live that lie, we deepen our belief in it. And as time passes, we lose the ability to see the lie, to question it, and to get out of it. Work hard now, be happy later, they say. I realize there is no someday. There is only today. No amount of external things would make me happy. I was only either happy today or unhappy today. And again, I realized happiness is a choice we all get to make. To be happy is to live deliberately and in the present moment. And that I could only make myself happy. So I decided to reject the lie, to be happy, and to change everything in my life that wasn't making me happy. So the second part of the story is about courage. I decided that the only way forward was to be happy. Walking away from the dream life meant letting go of a lot of things. I was tearing down the facade of the person that I had built up for 31 years. And though I decided to change my life, I was still very afraid and didn't know what I was doing. I was also still sad, lonely, insecure, and I didn't love myself yet. I knew this would be a long journey and that ultimately it would be worth it, but how? How was I going to become happy? And how do I know I was making the right decision? I struggled with these questions for a long time. I felt like I was lacking the courage to move forward, and I kept thinking, where would I get that courage? And I never thought of myself as a courageous person, but ironically, I never gained that courage, but it manifested itself through a process of letting go. I let go of a lot of limiting beliefs, habits, expectations, and things that I thought people expected of me. Specifically, 3 things that changed. Number 1 is I started going to therapy and letting go of the belief that I didn't need any help and that I could figure this all out myself, or that this somehow made me less worthy. That was a big thing I let go. It acknowledged the start of my journey to becoming happy. I also embraced my spirituality, which is the second thing. Letting go of my rigid worldview, allowing the universe's good fortune into my life, and seeing the world in terms of lessons the universe is trying to teach me instead of roadblocks, if that makes sense. The third thing that changed is I made a vision board. And letting go of my limiting beliefs and combining this with newfound learnings from therapy and spirituality ultimately moved me closer to my vision. And through these three things, I completely changed my life. Again, this is gonna sound embarrassing, but I struggle with self-doubt and self-worth. But, I was in a perpetual cycle of needing to constantly distract myself by pursuing achievements instead of dealing with my self-worth and loneliness. And ironically, I went to therapy for strategy advice, thinking that I just needed help working through the different, aspects of this particular cycle. What I didn't realize is that it was subconsciously about starting the journey of choosing to be happy and changing my life. It was really my intuition working its magic. And initially, therapy was scary, very scary. For the first time in my 31 years on planet Earth, I began to listen to the very emotions I had spent my whole life avoiding. I was flooded with a lot of repressed emotions that were initially very overwhelming and scary and taxing. Initially, the therapy was needed just to stabilize my worsening depression. But eventually things stabilized, and then I built a foundation and started to make positive changes. I began meditating daily. But the single biggest change that I made was replacing I should with I want in my mental dialogue. After some reflection, I realized that my mental dialogue was full of I should do this, I should do that. And I guess that maybe 30% of the words that I said involved I should. And first I started to notice that and start to replace it with I want. Around that time, I started to begin the grieving process that I hadn't done from my uncle passing away a year before that. At the time, I was so busy with work that I didn't even have time to grieve, and now I was finally making that time. I reflected deeply on his life regret. His regret was not making the important people in his life a bigger part of his life, and that being smart was not everything. I realized my own workaholism was putting me on the same path. And through that, I began to see a change in my attitude towards spirituality. I began to develop my own spirituality. I began to see everything that was happening to me through the lens of a lesson that the universe was trying to teach me about who I authentically was and what is authentically on my path. When I experienced friction or resistance or stress when doing something, I kept thinking to myself, this is just the universe's way of telling me this is not what I need to be doing right now. And as I continued to go to therapy and open my spiritual beliefs, I tried vision boards. At the time, I came across some content specifically in the neuroscience world that talked about vision boards, and it completely changed my mind. Now, I had a broad idea of what a vision board was, but it was very colored in and limited to my worldview at the time and my spiritual beliefs at the time. And to be honest, at the time, I thought they were a bit BS. The word manifesting for me was a trigger word, and I was not able to see past it. Again, my spirit was not really open to the universe's good fortune yet, and I had to let go of my limiting belief in order for vision boards to truly reveal their beauty and potential. I struggled to make my first vision board. It didn't feel right, and it wasn't until I started to let go of my limiting beliefs, my expectations, my old habits, that I started to actually see meaningful change and start to align with my true authentic self. I made a second vision board that completely changed my life. In just 3 weeks, I became a happy person. I got back to a healthy routine at the gym, and I met the love of my life. But I struggled a lot to make those 2 vision boards. I watched countless hours of videos online. I took so many notes and read so many articles and tried to make the vision board that felt right to me. And I also still kept going to therapy, meditating, and working on myself. Through that, I kept thinking, there has to be a better way to do this. Like, this is just so much work. There has to be an easier way, right? And that day, Printboard was born. The core truth that was revealed to me is that courage is not about having no fear. We typically think of courage as being fearless, but in my own experience, it's not that at all. It's more about letting go of limiting beliefs and allowing courage to manifest itself in the daily actions, the thousands of decisions we need to make over a long period of time to make true meaningful change in our life. By letting go and allowing for my intuition, the universe, my emotions to guide me, I was finally open to the universe's good fortune. And in order to truly accept myself, I had to let go of a lot of things, a lot of baggage, to make true alignment with my authentic self. This alignment is what we all perceive as courage, because it gives us the conviction to make decisions, to be decisive in times of uncertainty, fear, and when others expect things of us. Here's another way of putting it. I've come to believe that the universe rewards authenticity, and that the more that you are you, the more that you allow the universe's good fortune into your life. Now, the third part of the story is about authenticity and alignment. You've probably heard me say, the world rewards authenticity. I will continue to say that. It is my personal truth, and it is the founding principle of Printboard. My story is proof, and I aim to make it true for others. If I could have anything put on a billboard for the whole world to see, it would be that the world rewards authenticity. If I could have one wish, it's that everyone in the world can experience the transformation and the alignment with their authentic self that I experienced. Again, the world rewards authenticity. So the more that you are yourself, the more that the world conspires in your favor. My transformation with vision boards planted the seed of what is now Printboard. My life completely changed in 3 weeks because of vision boards. Yet the process of building a vision board was horrible. I had to struggle, and I spent countless hours researching, building, optimizing, and I'm just so lucky that I built that second vision board, because I can't imagine being unhappy again. Luckily, I pushed through. And now I look back at that experience and realize that it was the universe, in fact, pushing me to build Printboard and share it with everyone here. I'm so lucky to have pushed through, because had I not pushed through, we wouldn't be here today. Printboard wouldn't exist, and I wouldn't have met the love of my life. We're planning to get engaged and married this year. When I was struggling with building my vision board, I kept thinking, there has to be a better way. Someone should just build this. And not only this, I thought about how many other people were struggling just like me, but weren't lucky enough to just keep pushing through and finally make a break. I remember coming across the statistic that 80% of people hate their job. And I thought to myself, I remember coming across the statistic that 80% of people hate their job, and this saddened me a lot. I thought, how many people were on the path of what society expects of them instead of their authentic, unique path that makes them happy? I felt like the whole world was just unhappy and I couldn't unsee it. And at the same time, I kept thinking about Printboard and its potential to transform and bring meaningful change to people's lives. And that made me excited and happy. Here I was holding this golden key. So in early 2025, I quit my job to start Printboard. Everything fell into place. I began to see how my entire life, all my struggles, insecurities, all the side quests I ever took were really just preparation for the main quest, which was building Printboard and helping the world become their authentic self. At the same time, in my own life, I doubled down on vision boards. I made another vision board for myself and continued to change my life. I completely replaced social media with reading. I quit my job to go 100% on Printboard, and I traveled the world. My girlfriend and I also made 2 couples vision boards. Things kept happening. We traveled the world, spent more time together, and planned our future together. All of this continued to strengthen my belief in Printboard and that the world rewards authenticity. And here we are in the present day. I spent the last year building Printboard. I launched the product to our first customers in late 2025. Since our launch just over a month ago, we've gained over 100 active users and are growing rapidly. And guess what? This was also on my vision board. There is so much more coming. So that brings us to the end of this story. Perhaps you clicked on this video because you welcome change in your own life. Perhaps this video even found you. Whatever the reason, I hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope I played some small but meaningful role in your journey towards change. If some parts of this video resonated with you, feel free to keep those. And if others didn't, feel free to discard them. See you in the next one, and be well.